Welcome to this Tutor2U Sociology topic video on social inequalities for Cambridge OCR A-Level Sociology. In this video we're going to look at the bell curve, the work of Murray and Herrnstein. When studying social inequality, most sociologists emphasise structural causes such as class exploitation, racism, patriarchy or cultural barriers. However, in the 1990s, two American authors, Charles Murray and Richard Herrnstein, provoked enormous controversy with their book The Bell Curve, Intelligence and Class Structure in American Life. Their central claim was that intelligence, measured through IQ, is the key factor shaping people's life chances. According to Murray and Herrnstein, social inequalities exist largely because some individuals are innately more intelligent than others, and society naturally rewards higher intelligence. This argument fits within a new right or functionalist tradition, one that blames inequality on individuals rather than social structures and views inequality as inevitable, even necessary for a well-functioning society. Murray and Herrnstein wrote The Bell Curve at a time when the United States faced intense debates about poverty, welfare dependency, crime and racial inequality. They aimed to explain these issues not in terms of social structure or discrimination, but through differences in intelligence. They argued that IQ is partly genetic and inherited, that it strongly predicts educational success, employment, income and even behaviour such as crime, and that social class is increasingly determined by intelligence rather than by background or privilege. Their book became infamous because they also claimed that average IQ scores differ between ethnic groups, an argument they linked to persistent racial inequalities in the US. The core of their argument is the idea that American society has developed a cognitive elite, a highly intelligent group who succeed in education, secure the best jobs and dominate political and cultural life. At the opposite end of the spectrum lies an underclass of people with lower IQ scores, trapped in poverty, unemployment and crime. Murray and Herrnstein argued that traditional welfare policies fail because they ignore the role of intelligence. They claim that instead of trying to eliminate inequality, policymakers should recognise that differences in life chances reflect differences in innate ability. Inequality, they suggested, is therefore natural and unavoidable and functional, ideas that align closely with new right thinking, which blames individuals for their circumstances and opposes state welfare. Sociologically, Murray and Herrnstein work fits squarely within the new right and has links to functionalist perspectives. Like functionalists, they view inequality as the outcome of meritocracy, where those with higher ability rise to the top and those with lower ability occupy lower positions. They reject Marxist and Weberian arguments that inequality is caused by structural exploitation or discrimination, instead seeing it as the natural outcome of ability differences. Their claims also build on Murray's earlier work on the underclass in Losing Ground, which argued that poverty stems from dependency and cultural failings rather than structural disadvantages. Overall, their perspective portrays inequality as functional, because it rewards talent, and inevitable, because intelligence is unevenly distributed across the population. In terms of research methodology, Murray and Herrnstein relied heavily on quantitative secondary data, including large-scale IQ test results, educational records, and US census data. One strength of their work is its use of extensive datasets and statistical analysis to support their claims. However, their methods and interpretations were highly controversial. Critics argue that IQ tests are not neutral or objective measures of intelligence, but culturally biased tools that reflect educational opportunities and familiarity with dominant cultural norms, rather than innate ability. There are some strengths to their analysis. It drew attention to the role of education and ability in shaping inequality, and offered a clear, if contentious, framework for linking intelligence and social outcomes. Their work also fitted neatly with new right ideas about meritocracy and welfare reform, influencing public debates and policy in the US and UK during the 1990s. However, the weaknesses and criticisms are substantial. Many academics condemn the work for its ethnocentric and racist implications, especially the claim that ethnic inequalities result from inherited intelligence differences. Critics also point out that their approach is biologically deterministic, ignoring the powerful influence of social structures such as class, racism, and gender. IQ testing itself has been widely criticised for cultural bias, as it tends to measure familiarity with the dominant culture rather than true intellectual potential. Moreover, Murray and Herrnstein's approach oversimplifies inequality by reducing it to a single factor, intelligence, and neglects the complex interplay of economic, cultural, and political forces. Although the bell curve has been largely rejected within sociology, it remains useful for students because it demonstrates how new right and functionist perspectives interpret inequality. It provides a clear contrast to Marxist, Weberian, and feminist explanations, which focus on structures of power, privilege, and discrimination. And it also serves as a reminder that sociological research can be deeply controversial and politically charged, influencing public debate in ways that extend far beyond academia. For Cambridge OCR sociology students, the bell curve can be applied in both short and extended exam answers. It can be used to illustrate the new right view that inequality stems from individual differences rather than structural factors. In essays, it provides a useful contrast with Marxist, Weberian, or feminist perspectives that stress structural causes of inequality. Students should also be prepared to discuss major criticisms of the work, including its determinism, methodological flaws, and racist assumptions. In conclusion, Murray and Herrnstein's The Bell Curve remains one of the most controversial texts in sociology. By arguing that inequality reflects inherited intelligence, they shifted attention away from social structures and placed responsibility for poverty and disadvantage on individuals themselves. Although their ideas have been heavily criticised for racism, biological determinism, and methodological bias, their work remains an important example of new right thinking and is a useful contrast to structural explanations of inequality. That concludes this Tutor2U Sociology topic video on social inequality for Cambridge OCR A-Level Sociology. In this video we looked at the work of Murray and Herrnstein and the bell curve. Thanks for watching.